morning's class, we're going to start in a seated position. So I've got my trusty block. You don't have to use a block if you don't want one, but I find it useful. And we're just going to take a sort of fairly classic approach to the start of the class in sitting and breathing. I'm going to see if we can find a comfortable place to sitting. So for me, this is comfortable. You don't have to replicate if that's not your cup of tea. But we are going to try and sort of wriggle through the pelvis and get that to what we call a neutral position. So it feels like your spine is just sat above your pelvis rather than tilting forwards or backwards or out to the sides. And that you can be lovely and open across the front of the chest. And the easiest place to place the hands, I guess, would be on the thighs. I'm going to consider the back of the neck and the head position. Again, just stacked directly over the spine. So sitting tall and very gently pressing the sitting bones down to the floor. You don't want the glutes or your buttocks to kind of stiffen up. You want them still to be a little bit soft, but you do want to be thinking about pressing them down and the crown of the head towards the sky. Then we've got the spine and the pelvis kind of organized. Then we can focus on the breath and just allow ourselves to breathe very low down in the belly, below the belly button. And then let that breath move up above the belly button towards your chest, through your ribs, towards your collarbones. And then the exhale, likewise, we just draw that back down. So you're going to feel your belly come back in towards your spine, low down below your belly button. It's almost like a wave through the front of your body coming in and out. Allow yourself to slow that breath down. You can close the eyes if you wish. And this way we can settle into not only the class, but settle into ourselves a little as well. Take your next breath, allow that to become a seated cat-cow. Tilt the pelvis forwards a little bit. As you breathe in, allow your chest to lift, roll the shoulders back gently. On the exhale, tilt the pelvis the opposite way. Let the belly roll in, spine moves towards the back of the mat, and the head drops, and the shoulders shrug a little. Then slowly taking the breath in again, lifting up. So it doesn't have to be a big movement. It may loosen up a little bit and become a longer movement for you naturally as your body starts to open up. But if you're a little bit tight, especially if sitting positions are not your favorite thing to do, then you might need a little time to get into the flow. We've got a couple of minutes of just rocking gently through the pelvis. Come back into the center. Allow ourselves to just lengthen the legs out in front. So I'm going to come off of the block. So sitting upright in Dandasana, just moving the flesh out a little bit. Thighs roll in, the feet are together and drawn back towards us a little bit. We lengthen out through the legs. So we take the legs as far apart as we comfortably can. And try to allow yourself to come onto the front edge of the sitting bones a little bit more. You're going to feel these muscles here tighten up. So see if you can focus on letting those lengthen out. Imagine that you've got an extra pair of hands and they're just rubbing down your legs. See if you can get the calf and the back of the thigh and the heel to feel like everything's connected to the foot. Take the hands out in front, keep the elbows at the height of the shoulders. Let ourselves lean out to the right, turning the middle, come forwards, going over towards the opposite side and rolling around gently. Gradually, you might get deeper and deeper. We're going to avoid trying to send the hands out towards the front. I'm just going to keep the elbows elevated, the chest nice and free and open. And if you find that your legs are lifting a little bit as you do this, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. We're just warming into this gently. We'll take it in the opposite direction as well and see how those lower back muscles feel. Connect through fascia down into the buttocks, along the line of the spine. Again, this is one of those ones you can start small and build. We'll come back to the center and just lift the legs up. Give the thighs a bit of a reprieve, and we'll come on to all fours, gently towards the front of the mat. We'll just check the knees are underneath the hips, the hands are spread and underneath the shoulders. We'll take a traditional cat-cow a couple of times. Just rolling the chest forwards, shoulders back, tailbone to the sky. Press into the shins a little bit and the hands. Feel that weight difference through the spine. So same move, but gravity having a different effect on us. And then we're going to take that into a couple of nice juicy barreling rolls. We'll scoot around to the opposite side. Coming back into the center, I'm going to sit down into child's pose. I'm going to move my block out to the side a little bit. So still within reach, but away from the mat. Again, trying to feel the breath deep down low into the belly. Feel that expand against the thighs a little. Stretch down the sides of your body, all the way into your lower spine. Come back slowly. Fingertips to the very front of the mat. Tuck the toes underneath. Let ourselves walk into down dog. Crackling the legs if that feels good. Again, that's optional. It's your choice. We're going to draw the right knee in towards the chest and bring that foot to the outside of the front hand. On the inhale, we draw the right hand up into a twist, keeping the back leg as straight as we can. Bring the hand back down as we exhale and step gently back, down dog. Draw the left knee in as we breathe in. Use the exhale to take the foot to the outside of the mat. Inhale the next breath, your left arm lifts into the twist. Use the exhale to come down to the floor. Stepping back into down dog as you breathe in. Draw the right knee towards the chest. Take the foot forwards again on the right. Take the hand to the sky. Bring it back down to the floor. Stepping back. Press deep into the down dog. Draw the left knee in. Bring that foot through. Outside of the hand. Take the next twist to the left. Hands down to the floor. Stepping back into down dog. I'm going to scissor the right leg this time. Draw the knee in towards the chest and bring the foot through the hands. And take a twist to the right hand lifts. And comes to the floor. Step back deep into our down dog. Sit the left leg high. Draw the knee in towards the chest and bring the foot through between the hands for the lunge. Take the left hand for the twist. Hands come to the floor. Stepping gently back to that down dog. This time I'm going to scissor the right leg and take the foot to the outside of the right hand. And just for fun, we're going to take a little breath and take the left foot to the outside of the left hand into a squat. Let ourselves sink down as low as we can with the buttocks and around the spine. And then on the exhale, drive through those thighs. Let the head hang until we come up standing tall and swoop the arms to the sky on the breath in. Hands through the heart, and we'll exhale gently, softening the knees a little. Hands to the floor. We'll step back with the left. Step back with the right into down dog. We'll scissor the left leg and take the hand to the outside. Take a little breath and we'll take the right foot to the outside. And squat down deep again. Rise through. All the way up, gently rolling that spine out. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Soften the knees a little as you come forwards and down. Allow yourself to step the right and then the left back into your down dog. Take a little breath from here. Scissor your right leg. Draw the knee in towards your chest. Through to the front of the mat. We'll bring hands alongside the body and lift into a high crescent. Use the hands down to the floor as we exhale. Stepping back into our down dog. Instantly scissor the left leg on the breath to the sky. Bring the foot through. Lunge on the opposite side. As alongside the body. And we'll lift ourselves into that high crescent. Breath in. Hands to the floor. This time we'll step into the front of the mat. Bring the hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift gently. Inhale high to a little back bend. Press the hips back and the feet down. Hands in towards the heart. Into the hips. Soften the knees a little. And ourselves a forward in deep. Now starting to press the feet down into the floor. Hands onto the hips again. Soften the knees and take a slow lift up. Inhale high. Little back bend. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Step the right foot to the back of the mat into lunge. Drop the back knee down onto the floor. Sweep the hands alongside the body. Let ourselves lift into a low crescent. Lift the chest up a little bit. Draw the belly in. Get some height in the spine. Bring the hands down to the floor. Lift the back knee. Drop the heel in, ready for warrior two. Hands alongside the body. That right arm comes forwards. We'll lift into our warrior two. We'll take a little breath here. Reverse the warrior. Taking one hand behind the back. Come forward slowly back into the warrior two. Bring the hands high. Rotate gently down to the floor. Stepping back to down dog. Come forwards into plank. And taking half plank and up dog. The option to come down into low cobra if you wish. Otherwise, the toes turn under, the legs stay strong, the shoulders roll back. And we use the hips to lift up into our down dog. Take a couple of breaths here. Now scissor the right leg. Draw the knee in towards the chest to bring the foot through. We'll take a twist to the right. Hands to the floor. Twist to the left. Hands to the floor. And step it into the front of the mat. Holding deep. Hands onto the hips again. Let ourselves lift. Inhale, hands high. Take it into that little back bend. Into the heart, down to the floor we go. The left foot back this time. Back knee drops. Untap the toes, hands alongside the body. Float into your low cobra. Press into the shin a little bit to get even more height. Hands come down to the floor. Inhale, step the back heel in. Warrior two for the lift. Wrap your back arm around, top arm up and over towards the back of the mat. Allow yourself to change your gaze towards your back foot. Check your leg is strong. Into your warrior two. Hands come high. Roll out towards the front of the mat. Stepping back to that down dog. Forwards into the plank. Half plank. Up dog. Down dog. Couple of breaths here. Scissor left legs through the center into lunge. Left hand for the lift. Exhale down to the floor. Shift the weight a little bit. Right arm lifts, hand to the floor, stepping into that forward lunge. Sorry, forward fold. We've got lunges on the brain today. Hands on the hips, soften the knees, let ourselves lift. Sweep the arms high, hands into the heart. Exhale down. Allow yourself to step your feet to about the middle of the mat. Walk your hands in. Hit your block up and take that behind your heels. Now with the fingertips again on the floor, just step your heels onto the corner edges of the mat. Allow yourself to take the toes out and ease into those knees for your malasana squat. So it's getting a little warmer in here this morning. Take this off. Allow yourself to keep the belly drawn in, legs out wide. If you're able to, pressing backs of your arms into those thighs. Hands in towards your heart. Really trying to loosen up the back of the shoulders. We'll take the hands out wide, palms up towards the sky. And on the inhale, we'll start to lift into standing position and bring the hands above there. On the exhale, we'll come back down. Let the knees follow the direction of the feet so we can move into that squat. Bring the hands in towards your heart. And then inhale the hands out wide again and let ourselves lift up. Use the exhale to come down. With control. Hands in towards the heart. Control and cracking knees as well. The last time coming down. Allow yourself to take the hands forwards about shoulder distance apart. Press the back of your arms into those legs. Lift your buttocks up and come into crow pose position. Now, if you wish to, you can take your feet gently away from the floor and squeeze the heels in towards your buttocks. Bring the feet down. Allow yourself to move your block out to the side again. Take hands towards the front of the mat. Allow yourself to lift into your down dog, just stepping out your stool as you need. And center the right leg to the sky. Draw the knee towards the chest. Bring the foot through. And drop the back heel down. You'll lift into warrior two. And then from warrior two, we're going to extend the side angle, lean out over that front thigh. Bring the forearm down. Going to inhale high. Take a little breath, send the palm forwards and lengthen that out towards the front of the mat. You'll lift slowly back up into warrior two. And bring the hands behind your back. Squeeze the shoulder blades down. Hands towards the bottom of the floor. Draw the belly in a little bit. Allow yourself to lengthen out to that same position you had before, pressing into the back foot. Really open the chest alongside of the mat. And slowly straighten the front leg. Allow yourself to come into triangle pose. Let the body lengthen a little more. And now you're drawing the hands towards the back of the mat. So the arms are more parallel to the floor. Push them down through both feet. Soften the front knee. Back into warrior two. Lift the hands high. Take it out to the front of the mat. Step them back. Into down dog. Or scissor the left leg. Draw the knee in and through. Let ourselves lift into our warrior two. Extend out over the front thigh. Forearm down. Top arm lifts. We turn the palm slowly over towards the front of the mat. So just getting used to how the body feels wrapping around itself. We'll come back into warrior two. Let the hands come behind your back. Roll the shoulders back and keep the belly drawn in. Allow yourself to lengthen out again. It's more or less the same angle over that front thigh. So shin is vertical. You're drawing your hands towards your back foot. Rolling the chest up towards the sky. Now we'll slowly start to straighten the front leg. Allow the body to sink down a little lower. And just lift the hands a little more. The arms feel like they're more parallel to the ground. Just actively drawing your fingers towards the back of the mat. We'll soften the front knee. Come back into our warrior two. Lift the hands high as we breathe in. Rotate out towards the front of the mat, down to the floor. Stepping back to that down dog. Bring the knees to the ground. Back into child's pose. And when your head comes to the ground, allow yourself to inhale up onto your fingertips. And then on the exhale, you're going to slowly bring the palm of the hand down to the floor. Gradually lift your fingertips away from the ground, and maybe even the knuckles. And on the inhale, you roll the knuckles down again, lift the palm, and come onto the fingertips. So just working with your breath. As that gentle wave. You're feeling the intensity change in the shoulders, down the side of the body. Now let's get the hands come flat to the floor. Bring ourselves forwards to the elbows on the ground and just walking the feet gently back so the hips come to the ground. We'll take the feet out as wide as the mat and bring their hands down towards the bottom of the rib cage. We're going to take a little flow into some low cobra. So squeezing the elbows together lightly, rolling the the heels out. And on the inhale of your next breath, allow yourself to lift your chest from the ground. Exhale back. Now, as you inhale, you drag yourself forwards a little bit on the fingertips. So you're not really pressing up, but you are lifting forwards. Hope that makes some sense. You'll feel some kind of friction in the hands a little bit. Try and lengthen the legs away and keep the legs attached to the ground. There's a little bit of a softening on the exhale. As you come down, we'll move into Sphinx pose. We'll bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. Try and draw the shoulders out wide, like there's a pair of invisible hands drawing your shoulders wider for you. Drawing the belly in, pressing the forearms into the floor a little bit, pressing the thighs down, toes away. Try to get a sense of getting the biggest opening you can in your lower back. It's not about how high you get. It's all about how long you can make yourself feel. And try to get those muscles to elongate along your spine towards your head. And then the muscles that are sort of feel from your very lower back across the back of your pelvis, moving in the opposite direction. It takes quite a bit of concentration. Take a little breath from there. Allow ourselves to just bring the hands together and tuck the little finger underneath. Now we're going to press down through the forearms a little more. Tuck the toes underneath. Allow yourself to draw the hips away from the floor. So you're now just resting on the elbows and knees and toes. Then we're going to lift the knees away from the floor and tuck the toes under a little more so we can press out through the heels, and we've lifted into an elbow plank. To make that a little bit more fun, take your attention to your chin, your heart, your belly button and pubic bone, over the center line of that mat. And try to keep them there as you lift your right foot away from the floor as you breathe in, and use the exhale to come back down. That's a long breath and a small movement. Inhale up, so it's slow, and then exhale down. Inhale across the opposite side. Try and stay yourself hovering over the center line. Pressing down through those forearms, keep the back of the shoulders lifting away from the ground a little bit. It'll help keep your core muscles engaged and stop you from sort of dropping the hips down to the floor. Almost there. And then we can bring the knees back underneath. And we can take child's pose again, but this time we'll bring the hands underneath the forehead, elbows out to the side, and relaxing. Got a very narrow stance, so the knees are more sort of hip distance apart. And we'll let ourselves lift up. Going to come onto those elbows again, lengthen the legs out, and we're just going to flip onto our back. So we're going to keep the head the same end of the mat. Allow yourself to walk your feet in towards your bottom as you wriggle through the shoulders and the hips to get your spine as flat to the floor as you can. Allow yourself to take your hands directly above your shoulders, palms facing in, and draw the shoulders down to the floor a little bit. Draw your lower spine into the ground. Come up onto the tippy toes and bring your knees above your hips. Now extend the feet up towards the sky with straight legs as you can manage and point the toes. Alternating the legs and arms, we're going to take that right arm and left leg as close to the floor as we can on an exhale, whilst keeping the other limbs stationary, and then bring them back and cross over to the opposite side. Now, I'm going to try and keep your lower back as close to the ground as you can. And if you do find yourself bumping your hands and your feet into the floor, try to make it as little and light as possible. You don't really want to be taking a rest, because if you let all the muscle contractions go, you have to pull them all back in again to get the lift. And generally what happens is you raise your lower back away from the floor and use some of your spine muscles to help lift. You recruit them in a way that is not great for their conditioning. They start to feel overstrained. It all gets a bit achy. So keep it light, slow, and strong. And we'll bring the legs back up. Draw the knees a little more in towards the chest. Just bring the hands down and out wide. Feet to the floor, close to your bottom on the center line. We'll shimmy the hips over towards the left. The legs roll down to the right. Hopefully keeping the shoulders flat to the floor and just relaxing the lower back muscles and the hips, those outer hip muscles. And draw the knees slowly back up. Shimmy the hips to the opposite side of the mat. Let the legs down. Turn the head a little less to the opposite side if that feels good and easy in the neck and shoulders. Otherwise, the eyes would just be looking towards the ceiling. And relax the shoulders down and underneath. Let's allow ourselves to roll completely onto the side the knees are facing. Bring ourselves slowly back up. Take the feet out towards the front of the mat and come into Dandasana. The legs out in front. Now, mostly when I do Dandasana, I do that with a block underneath my bottom, but today we're going to start that already flat to the ground so I can feel the back of the thighs, calves, and the heels on the floor. Toes are drawn back, and I can use the hands to provide a little assist as well. I've got the idea of recruiting the muscles around the abdomen, around the lower back and the thighs together to sit up straight. When you achieve that, you take the feet out as wide as you can. Now, for some people, if you've got a hard floor like I have, pressing your heels down on that might not be great. So just turn yourself completely lengthways on the mat so your heels are off something soft, or put a blanket, towel underneath the heels. I'm going to roll into the front edge of the sitting arms a little bit and then turn your chest towards your left knee. Now you want to try and sit up as tall as you can and rotate round and have the spiraling effect to feel like it's coming from sort of this part of your body rather than sort of using your arms and your outer limbs to pull yourself around. I'm still going to try and lengthen out through the heels a little bit, and you'll notice that the toes are pointing up towards the sky and stretched out a little bit. Now, obviously, the wider you've taken your feet apart, the more you've got to rotate your body around. But you're just trying to align that part of your chest to that part of your leg. And breathe. See if you can let the sort of inner groins release from this big stretch. Thighs lengthening out, inner groins opening as well. And we'll release from there. Take a moment to kind of feel the work that we were putting in through the spine, that torsional stretch that we were getting. We'll just release that from one side and then we can take the body across to the other. So it's a bit like the body's unraveling itself. Okay, we'll come back to the center. And I'm going to slide the left heel into the groin. And I want to be able to have that pressing down into the floor. So if the floor's not available, you can pack that with your block underneath the knee. Allow yourself to turn your chest towards this left knee. I'm going to take the left hand around the back and see if we can bring the fingers towards that front thigh. So leaning forwards a little bit to make some space. And taking the right hand out along the right shin. Going to start to walk the fingers down the leg and lean out to the side and see if I can bring my fingers up onto the big toe where I can get a little bit of a hook, and then continue to lift the body up and out towards that outstretched foot. And as I lift up and out, the body kind of lowers itself naturally when it's ready. So I'm getting to the point where I can bring the elbow down onto the shin. And I'm just using the hand behind me to just really kind of help rotate the chest open and make me a little bit more aligned chest to inner groins. Keeping the abdominal muscles just drawn in lightly. And release, bring ourselves back up. I'll extend that left leg out and swap it for a right. Turn again towards the knee, press that down a little bit. Both sitting bones on the floor, ideally. Wrapping the right hand around, left hand down to the shin, and then gradually walking in behind the toes. Get a hook, and then lift up and over. Now, if your elbow reaches the shin very easily, allow yourself to continue dropping the elbow down lower onto the inside of the shin. So you're coming to the sort of front side rather than behind yourself. And that allows you to then keep rolling the chest open up towards the sky. Still pressing out through the heel a little bit on this long leg as well. So not only are we getting long in the spine, but we're getting long in the legs and the hamstrings as well. But release and let ourselves soften off from there. We'll take the right leg out, swap that for the left. Rotate the arm around gently. Get as much space as we can in the spine and start to walk the leg out. So, hand out. That is already a leg. Let yourself to lower in. Find that position that you held before. Only this time we're going to take the top of the rear hand up towards the sky. So first of all, we want to turn palm facing towards the toes outside. And then we're going to lift up a little more. So you're going to get that 1/2 inch stretch of the fingertips towards the sky. And then allow the arm to float over towards your ear. See if you can come down a little lower and see how close you can get your fingertips to the toe. Keeping the elbow up towards the sky and the chest rolled open. The bent knees pressing lightly into the floor. And we draw in the chest towards the foot that's outstretched. We'll use that top arm to come up. As we drop that down, that will help lift the body gently. So a little bit easier on those muscles on the side of the body. And now we've got one last side to play with. So it all comes in, we rotate around. We ease the arm around the body, pull the fingers out. Find your big toe. Doesn't have to be the toe, big toe. It could be holding on to the ankle or even the little toe side of your foot if you wished. Allow yourself to get to the position you thought you were in the last time you visited this site. And we'll lift the top arm up slowly to 12 o'clock. And then stretch it up. For that extra 1/2 inch, turn the palm out. Bring the arm out towards your ear. Lower your body down. On an exhale. Almost there. Keep the breathing soft and long. Inhale the top arm up. Roll it back. Allow yourself to lift all the way back up. Whew. And then we'll turn towards the front of the mat. We'll bring the block underneath the bottom to allow ourselves to have a little seated twist. So legs come together, and then we'll take the left foot underneath and out towards the right hip. So the knee points forwards, the right foot comes over, tilt the pelvis forwards, get the space in the spine. Inhale the left hand and rotate around gently. Try and relax the bottom leg. So we're trying to take a little bit of heat out of the body. I know those poses weren't fast flowing moves, but they are dynamic stretches and they build a lot of heat quite quickly. So we're just letting some of that go. Now we'll release and we'll take it to the opposite side. release from there. Take the legs out. Again, we'll just bring the left heel into the groin, knee out to the side, square the hips, put a little bend in the knee, lift ourselves up and hinge over the hips for Janu Shirshasana. We're going to lay the belly, then the chest down onto the thigh. We'll slide the fingers out around maybe the sole of the foot and draw the foot towards us a little bit. Try and let the head follow the line of the spine, so we're not dropping the head to the ground. We're actually lengthening it out towards the front of the mat. And we'll bring ourselves back up. Square ourselves up. Healthy bend in the knee. Hinge over the hips. Slide the hands out if and when you're ready. And release from there. Now this time we'll take the feet hip distance apart deliberately, so you've got a good sort of 6 to 8 inches there. And we're going to take the left foot and bring that in towards us, but kind of more lining up with the sitting bones. So that's why we want to be on the block. And then we can draw the right heel into the same place. So this front knee is now sort of 45 degrees, shin on the floor. We're going to take the hands around the sole of the foot, come into heron pose. Going to lift the heel off the ground, draw the belly in, take the weight a little bit forwards into that front thigh, and then extend the opposite leg out as straight as we can. Press the heel away, roll the shoulders back, and lift. And we'll bring that foot down to the ground. And the legs back out. Remember, aiming for hip distance. Bring the right heel in, get lean into the front of the sitting bones. Foot comes to the sitting bone as we draw that left leg in. Lift the foot away from the ground. Roll the shoulders back a little bit, draw the belly in, and then extend the leg out. Bring that foot down to the floor. Lengthening the legs out, we can come into Shavasana. You choose whether you want to use the block under your body or not. It's quite humid today, but actually chilly. So I'm going to put an extra layer on. Shavasana. So the feet out towards the corner edges of the mat, knees high to start with, and roll your spine down to the floor. Just lengthen your legs out, keep the heels in contact with the ground, wriggle the hips out, wriggle the shoulders underneath, get some space. It's been a theme today. Let the legs roll out, eyes closed, soften the jaw, palms face to the sky. Now try to just breathe in and out and stay as still as you can. So every impulse to stretch a finger or a toe or scratch or itch, try to just go, I understand that's my mind trying to be busy and I want you to rest. So just stay still. So you can have a little conversation with your own brain. To gently stretch those fingers and toes. The wrists and the ankles to move gently, just to reconnect, awaken the nervous system. Allow ourselves to stretch out gently any way that feels good to us. And slide the heels along the floor towards you. Enable you to bring the knees gently in towards your body for the softest of hugs. We'll roll onto our right side as we exhale. Breath on the bottom on the floor. Then use the exhale and next breath to roll yourself around and back up to sitting. And into an easy sitting posture. Bring the hands in towards your heart. Sitting tall, close the eyes. Take a longer breath in. In a slow exhalation, letting the chin drop, drawing the belly to the spine. And seal your practice. As the breath comes back into your body, let it build your spine for you. Lifting your head, opening your eyes. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. Hope you enjoyed, and see you on the mat again soon.